few minutes ahead, so we might even get some more question time again today. Our next presenter is Ray Johnston, another one of our Tasmanian members, and preparing the next generation for a life of EVs. Both grey-headed gentlemen, and we're talking about those who are not. You're right.
Okay, good morning. It still is good morning. I'm going to be talking today about something that's happening right now, so we're not looking very far into the future. And I'm also going to talk about something that's quite small on the scale of things, and that's what's happening in a section of education in Tasmania as far as electric vehicles are concerned. To start off with, I'd just like to talk about myself. It's one of those things I do a lot. Just to give you some background about where this particular project came from. So I've taught computer science for many years. The many years involved there because even I can't remember how long I've been teaching computer science. But I've also acted as a consultant to the education department for a few years in IT, and I retired in 2009 for 6 days. And fortunately I think I was given a job teaching 8 3/4 hours a week, and I find that quite manageable. So I've continued to do that. As I've aged, I've always been fascinated by the idea of electric vehicles, and in December 2014 I bought an Outlander, plug-in hybrid Outlander like most people do, because it was really the only practical vehicle at this stage that I could afford. And you know, grey hair, I don't know how much longer I'd have to wait for a really affordable electric vehicle, so I bought that. And I also discovered AEVA existed. I hadn't heard of it before. And one of the exciting things that I have to say, and I hope you don't mind, Penny, I discovered that the AEVA Tas branch was formed in 2013? 15. Okay, so I discovered that the chairperson was Penny, who taught at Launceston College with me for a number of years. So, you know, it was like old times. I also discovered afterwards that we had an electric vehicle project. So that project was floated in 2013, and lots of bits were purchased. I have to say that our principal, I teach at Launceston College, we have 1,500 students around 16 to 17 year age, okay, so those people that are going to go into driving and all those sorts of things, well, they're doing it. So the principal was very, very keen, and still is very keen, to have everything happen instantly. So money was found to buy an electric motor, lots of 12-volt lead-acid batteries, a controller and bits like that, and the principal expected that a vehicle would be going, you know, in a few weeks, converted. So that didn't happen, and in fact the poor teacher who was given the job, it was just too much for him. So those parts actually got locked away in a storeroom, and I must admit the batteries, we're not quite sure which storeroom they're in now, but you know, as happens. But anyway, I discovered the storeroom and the bits there. I also, as I said, met up with AEVA and discovered Christopher, who has converted the Brumby. So you'll see that tomorrow if you're coming to the show, car show. And so the perfect opportunity. We had the parts, we had the expertise now, and it was an opportunity to rebirth that particular project. Rather than trying to satisfy the principal and have the vehicle instantly appear within a few months, we decided that it would be a good idea to plan this thing. And so our first plan was that we would have a proof of concept. So we decided, because we run automotive studies as one of our subjects, and those students, you know, they're normally working with petrol engines, we decided that we'd make up a frame, mount the electric motor that we had, set up the controller, and just see if we could get it to run. It's no use getting a car, putting it into the car and discovering, oh, it doesn't work. So that was the first plan. The second part of the plan was, in fact, to, I'm not sure it's on my slides now. Yeah, okay, yeah, so stage one was do that mock-up. Stage two was to make up something like a go-kart so that we could move around but not actually register it or anything. Stage three was that we would convert a vehicle and get it onto the road. So, stage one, we decided to build this motor on a frame. We were going to run 24 volts because, you know, you're not in, you're not popular if you electrocute students. So we decided, no, I wouldn't say that. So we decided 24 volts was a nice, safe system running off a couple of 12-volt batteries. We purchased a controller, and I'll have to show you the controller. This is the controller for that motor. The electric motor is able to drive a car, but off 24 volts, this is a suitable controller. Okay, so we put it all together and we decided that we would actually show it at our agricultural show, AgFest, in May. And so we made a beautiful frame, we made a cage to put over it, and we actually decided to get a water pump. Our local fire station had a spare one, so we put that on so that people could see it do something. So a few days before AgFest, as we were making technical adjustments, this little device generated smoke. Okay, so suddenly we didn't have a controller 3 days before we were booked in to show the thing at AgFest. So we looked at getting another one from Western Australia and decided no, it wouldn't happen. But we did have the higher current controller that was purchased for the original car. So frantic work for a few nights, changing it over from a 24-volt system to a 100-volt system. You know, just a minor technical adjustment to the whole project 3 days before we were showing it to people. Anyway, so we didn't have 100 volts worth of batteries, but one of our members, Paul French, and he'll have his vehicle here tomorrow, a little Daihatsu handy van that he's converted, conveniently ran off 100 volts. So we easily hooked up a plug to his car and made him park alongside our thing. Okay, so this is the thing. Now, it's in two parts, this video, if it works. I think it
You're right with
that? Okay, so this is the AEVA and Launceston College thing with our able driver, Christopher Walkton, the Secretary of the Tasmanian branch. He's going to demonstrate how the thing can be used to pump water. Not its normal use. Its normal use would be to drive a car. So if we have a closer look at the thing, we can see that it has a standard electric vehicle engine, motor, and we've connected it to this pump, and it will feed water through here. So Christopher now will fire up the thing. Okay. In a moment. Okay. All right. Let's pause. Okay, so of course nothing works like it's supposed to, does it, when you're working with technology? So we have a pre-charge system and somebody turned it off, so we had to turn it back on and wait for 10 seconds. We decided that in fact that's how we could this. So we put in an extra long delay before you could actually run the motor. So if we move on to the next slide. Okay.
So we are now ready. Oh, am I recording? We are now ready to go. So Christopher will operate the lever and it's live. Oh, from the thing. And as the battery slowly goes flat, no it isn't. So we're actually feeding the 100 volts through a sneaky cable around to Paul's electric car. And so here's his battery pack that is feeding the thing today. Thank you.
Okay. And apologies for the shakes. I get the shakes. It's one of those things as you age. Okay. All right. So we're ready for stage 2. Okay, to actually try out, transfer the thing, the motor out of the thing and into a little go-kart. Well, that didn't happen. The principal, I mentioned the principal, didn't I? The principal was very keen to get things going quickly, and he found a little Suzuki Mighty Boy. I don't know whether you know those vehicles. Here it is, and yeah, well, here's some of it. So that was purchased earlier this year, and we're ready to move on to stage 3. So, and we are not too much further on from here. Okay, so that's why I say I'm not looking a long way into the future. It is right now. So the plan is, well, in fact, we are further. Have I got it? Okay, so the stage is here. We do need to take it to pieces. We need to take out all the stuff we don't need. Obviously the petrol motor, the fuel tank, radiator, all those sorts of things. We're very lucky that it's such a tiny vehicle that it doesn't have power brakes, so we don't have to have any of that stuff either. What we do have to do is to make sure that the new vehicle, the electric one, is lighter than the original vehicle. Otherwise we've got to do things with brakes and all that sort of thing. But the plan is that we will get it going and hopefully register it, and it will become our college, you know, zip things around town type of vehicle. The next big part was the batteries, and the batteries, okay, so disassembly, that was the motor. You won't see those in the future. This is the motor out of the thing. This actually happened on Tuesday, that the electric motor's been fitted, so we've retained the original gearbox, even though we probably won't use that very much, mainly be in 3rd gear and so on. So there's lots of spare space under the bonnet. The controller will need to fit and what have you, but that's nearly it under the bonnet. Come on, okay. So again on Tuesday, so we're right cutting edge, the batteries arrived. So they're $7,500 worth of batteries, okay, much more than the cost of the vehicle itself. We're actually, better get the statistics here. You're correct. So lithium iron phosphate, that was the best that we could afford, so not pure lithium ion. Each cell 3.2 volts, 180 ampere hours, so 575 watt hours, if you like technical stuff, and each one weighs 3.3 kilos. So there are going to be 45 of them, so that will mean that the vehicle will run off 144 volts. Okay, so yeah, there are going to be a lot of issues around safety whilst we're doing that assembly. A lot of the assembly will happen through AEVA members. So we've got a strong team of teachers and AEVA members, but also the students are doing a huge amount of the work as well. It'll give us 15 kilowatt hours of power, and the batteries will weigh about 150 kilos. So yeah, we're not quite sure what it's going to look like yet. We haven't done all the weighing and those sorts of things. Yeah, so what else have we got here? Okay, so that's our project. That's happening now. Our year finishes today, our teaching year. In fact, I'm supposed to have just finished teaching a class of computer science for the final time. I hope it went well. Yeah, so the students go into exams next week, and then they go on holidays, and it will be next year's lot. A number of the students that have been working on the project are Year 11 students, and we have our students for 2 years, so they'll continue on with the project next year, along with some others. So that's that project. I also, because I teach so little, I do voluntary learner driving training. We have a learner car, and I haven't been brave enough to allow any of our learner students to drive my car yet, but certainly we talk, as part of learning to drive, we talk about electric vehicles when I'm taking them anyway. The other aspect, and again it's probably largely in my class, I teach students to program, so they'll be going on to university. One of the big things that we do talk about is social responsibility as far as the software is concerned, because I mean, most of an electric car is software. The battery and the motor are a little part of it, but it's how that's all controlled and what have you that's the important thing. And so, again, as far as my teaching is concerned, I try and encourage students to think about the consequences of the software that they'll be developing. I do have some amazing students this year that have been working on character recognition using cameras. They can actually take an image and decipher what characters are contained there, and that's a pretty advanced thing, the kind of thing that the Tesla would use to recognise the speed limit signs and those sorts of things. So, it's software is going to be another big thing. The other thing I do mention is, will they be driving anyway? They're 16, 17-year-olds. Their future's going to be so different to ours. I think that we'll answer questions later.
We'll do questions.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ray, and I think that that shows passion for teaching in a form that I've never seen before, and I think that it brings me 2 lines of a song that I believe our children are the future, and all of us grey-headed people have to take that into